Hi guys, welcome back to From PSD to HTML5. My name is Dan Wellman, and in this lesson we're going to look at another way of slicing a PSD to cut out the necessary image resources needed to build a template. We can actually use guides to create slices, which lets us save out a number of images at once and works well for cutting out grids of images. If we open up the PSD, so we'll open up the homepage one again. Okay, so the PSD, when we're given a PSD by a designer, it may or may not already have some guides in it. And we'll just zoom in slightly. We can show guides that are hidden by using the Control and semicolon key. And you can see that there are some guides in here. So these particular guides aren't going to be that useful to us though, because these are grid guides, so we can't use those really for slicing things out. So we can clear all of the guides if we go into the view menu, and then we can just click clear guides and it gets rid of them. So to actually create a new guide, we can slice out the content images actually. So the ruler needs to be visible to use guides, and if it's not, then again we can just go into view and just make sure that rulers is selected. So we'll just switch them back on. There we go. And then to add a new guide, then we can just click into the ruler somewhere and drag downwards from the top one, and that will give us a new horizontal guide. And then we can click on the one at the left hand edge and drag that out to the right, and that will give us a new vertical one. So we'll just add these guides around this main kind of hero image. We don't want to grab the orange because that's more of a decorative feature. It's not part of the actual image itself. Okay, so that looks relatively precise, and if we just zoom in a bit, then we can just check that the guides are actually in the right place. So this one needs to be moved. So what we can do, we'll just click on the move tool here, and then if we hover over the guide, then we can drag the guide around. So we'll just line these up, and we'll just check this one. Yeah, that's wrong as well, so let's just move that back in. Great. And we just need to add a few more guides just for the thumbnail images down at the bottom of the page. So let's go down here. Okay, so we've already got one there. Let's just add one to this top row here. And we need to add a couple around each image. And we'll just add one for the bottom of this row. So because these thumbnails are all kind of lined up, then you know it's nice and quick to add these guides. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll probably just need the top and bottom ones now for this bottom row of thumbnails. And this should be the last one now. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so once we've added all of the guides that we're going to need, I think we probably have at this point. Yeah, okay, that looks good to me. So now we can select the slice tool here, and if we just hit this button up at the top here, slices from guides, that will create a whole bunch of slices for us. That's what the blue lines and the little blue boxes signify. The thumbnails are all fine, that's all good. The hero image obviously is bigger than the thumbnail, so what we want to do is just, if we change this to the slice select tool, then we can select all of these slices and we'll just merge them into one slice. So if we right click, we can combine the slices, and now we've got our big hero slice here, and then we've got our thumbnail slices down at the bottom here. So now if we do save for web again, we need to make sure that everything here is correct. It probably is. If we hit the save button, you can see we've got a couple of options down here. So this is set to images only, and if we just hit the save button now, you can see it's taken a bit longer this time. If we just go to our folder now, we'll go into images. There's now an images folder inside our IMGs folder. And here are all of the slices that Photoshop has created for us automatically. So the file names are a bit verbose, but we can kind of go through, and if we select the thumbnails, just make sure we get all of them, then we can copy these out into the main directory here and just get rid of this folder for us. And now we can go through and kind of rename these as well. We'll just call this one Hero, and then we can just rename each of these so that they're called Thumb 1, you know, up to Thumb 6. So there's 6 of them. Let's just do this real quickly. The order is not specifically important, and because these are content images, generally these are the kind of images that the client would supply, or the designer would go ahead and purchase, like a big, you know, block of stock images for use throughout the site. So, you know, this may or may not be necessarily. We may already have all of these resources somewhere, or we'll get them at some point during the course of the build, but you know, this is what we would have to do, so we're just doing it now quickly. Great, okay, so that was considerably quicker, I think, than using the marquee tool to individually select all of those images. So the slices from guides button there, that can really help to save us time when we're dealing with kind of a very image heavy site. So one of the only downsides to that, obviously, is that there's a little bit of waste, because Photoshop has to go through and, you know, create images for every single slice. So even the slices around our slices that we weren't interested in using, you know, Photoshop still had to process those, but it can still save us time and it saves us effort. So that's got to be a good thing, right? So this technique is pretty useful when making HTML emails, obviously, because due to the nature of how HTML emails are built, i.e. table-based web development circa late 90s, the fact that Photoshop creates all of those extra slices for us automatically, that can actually help us when we're working with emails. So before we look at another type of slice later on in the course, we're just going to spend the next lesson looking at how Photoshop can help us really quickly create HTML emails. Thanks for watching.